Leaders across industry are meeting here in Vienna for the 2014 IADC World Drilling Conference. Joining me is Tom Kellogg of IHS. Tom, thanks for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So this morning you gave a presentation about the outlook for the drilling contractors, and what is the outlook specifically for the jackup market?
Well, today, we're seeing greater demand for jackups than ever before, which is good news for the contractors in that business. But one major concern, I think, is the number of rigs that are being built on an entirely speculative basis. And many of these are being built by people with no prior experience in the drilling industry. And the question is, when these are built, and there's nearly 150 of those currently on order and under construction, when they are delivered, what impact will they have on the industry itself? I personally think many of these will probably be sold to established contractors, but probably that number of rigs coming into the market is going to lead to some oversupply, which will have probably a negative effect on day rates.
And speaking of day rates, shifting to the deep water market, drilling contractors, analysts have been expressing concern. What is your take on day rates over there?
Well, we've seen in our database that there has been some reduction in day rates both for deep water drill ships and semi-submersibles lately. We don't think there's going to be a major crisis in day rates because the need for deep water drilling is one of the few areas where major operators can find sizable reserves remains. We do think perhaps that the fleet has been a little bit overbuilt, as with jackups, but on a smaller scale. We are having a number of new rigs entering the fleet without contracts, or they currently have no contracts. And that, I think, is going to extend a period of somewhat depressed day rates. But I think in the end, the need for all the rigs being built today will be demonstrated, and day rates will return to the levels we've seen recently.
And furthermore, how is the cost escalation affecting the market?
The cost escalation for operators, as many of them have said, is a major concern, but there's also a concern for drilling contractors who've seen personnel costs, which make up the majority of their cash cost on a daily basis. These personnel costs have been increasing at somewhere between 5 and 10% a year for several years. And they are not, in many cases, able to pass that on to their customers, the operators, because the nature of the contracts they have doesn't really allow for the full amount of that cost escalation to be passed on. So the drilling contractors are being squeezed to some extent, but cost increases are a concern throughout the industry, and not just personnel costs, but all types of costs.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for sharing with us your insight on our market outlook.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on drillingcontractor.org.